I'm Marty Stouffer. Before dawn they come, haunting their ancestral grounds like ghosts of a time long past. Transforming the silent grasslands into an eerie symphony. Their rituals inspired the first humans who shared the prairie with them. In ceremonial dances, the Blackfoot, Shoshone, Sioux, and Cheyenne imitated the courtship displays of the prairie grouse. Let's journey out onto the plains and meet the sage grouse, prairie chicken, and sharp-tailed grouse. Dancers of the dawn. The greater prairie chicken clings to existence on remnants of native grassland. Each spring, the colorful males greet the sunrise with rhythmic dances and haunting songs, interspersed with chicken-like cackles. Prairie chicken cocks and hens gather on a traditional dancing ground called a lek. Up to 50 males may vie for the attention of the shy, drab hens. In their excitement and agitation, the cocks raise the pinnate feathers on their necks like little war bonnets. Forcing air in and out of drum-like neck membranes called tympanum, which are actually part of an enlarged esophagus, they produce strange melodic tones. It's like blowing air across the top of an empty bottle. During courtship, their bright yellow eyebrows, called ocular combs, grow more pronounced. Flutter jumping is another method the colorful cocks use to attract a hen. A male's position in the middle of the lek is thought to be another key to his breeding success. Jousting for one of these central positions often results in short, violent skirmishes. Finally, a hen makes her selection. Yet even in mid-copulation, a cock's breeding rights may be challenged. After fertilization, the hen shakes or rousts her feathers. Then she'll desert the lek to find a suitable nest site. The lesser prairie chicken is almost identical in appearance to its slightly larger relative. Its neck sacs are a little smaller, but its ocular combs and pinnate feathers are proportionately larger than the greater prairie chicken. Today, the lesser prairie chicken lives in only 5 states. Here, on isolated sections of shortgrass prairie in the southern Great Plains, they gather on their springtime dancing grounds. Fighting is intense. With pinnate feathers flared, the cocks face off. Though spurring will occasionally dislodge feathers, most contact is relatively harmless. In centuries past, vast herds of bison shared this arid land. Now domestic cattle graze the fragile native grasses so critical to this bird's survival. Light to moderately grazed lands will still support grouse, but on overgrazed areas, these colorful little dancers are not to be found. The hens in particular need lush grass of a mixed variety for successful nesting. If the lesser prairie chicken is to endure, at least 50% of its habitat must be left unchanged. Farther to the north, from mid-Colorado to the Alaskan tundra, lives the sharp-tailed grouse. Unlike the square-tailed prairie chicken, the sharp-tail, true to its name, has a narrow, pointed tail and is the most talented dancer of all. Feet flying, they pirouette around the lek, rattling their tails and cooing. With outstretched wings, sharp-tailed cocks maneuver like miniature jets, taxiing for dominant positions on the lek. Even in slow motion, their rapid dance is almost a blur. During the fever pitch of courtship, cockfights are frequent and ferocious. The feathers along a sharp-tail's back are thick like armor plating. Aerial hunters like falcons have a difficult time penetrating this layer of protective plumage. The slowest dancer of the grouse family is the handsome sage grouse of the high plains. Their size and design make their display especially magnificent. Greenish-yellow air sacs bulge, pulsate, and pop. 20 spotted tail feathers fan like a majestic Indian headdress. Elongated filiplumes along the neck flutter in the sage-scented early morning breeze. Battles for the hens consist of shoving and wing beating. In the end, the majority of the females mate with the most dominant cock. In slow motion, the intricate pattern of air sac inflation is one of the most amazing sights in all of nature. Because sage grouse have no muscular gizzard, they're limited to foraging on soft food like sagebrush. In fall and winter, hardy sagebrush bushes, which are evergreen, may supply virtually 100% of the sage grouse's diet. Farming and ranching practices have resulted in widespread destruction of sagebrush, which has caused a corresponding decline in sage grouse populations. By mid-morning, the flock has flown off to feed, leaving a master cock and his hen alone on the lek. America's first people experienced grouse in numbers we can scarcely imagine today. They were so impressed with the dancing birds that the movements were incorporated into tribal ceremonies. The Sioux beautifully translated grouse ritual into the prairie chicken dance.
These winter counts are paintings of events of the past years. They're like history books of our people. Along with the buffalo, our ancestors hunted birds like prairie chickens and crane. To hunt a prairie chicken, one must leave before sunrise. Then he must do it very carefully.
The ingenious use of every part of the buffalo by the Plains Indians is legendary. But a diet of mostly buffalo meat could grow tiresome, and a dinner of tender grouse was a welcome change of pace. The brave tells his family of a grouse lek nearby. The word is quickly passed through the small encampment.
Aloha. Donashio. Washte. Inachi.
Shio, Luchella. Maya, inisting Lena Iwati.
Warriors of the future had to start somewhere. Hunting for a prairie chicken nest might have been a young Sioux's introduction to subsistence living on the wide, unbroken prairie. Prairie chicken hens which lose their first clutch of eggs will re-nest, and before the end of spring, lay another batch of olive eggs blotched with brown. Often, at the end of the day, young aspiring Sioux were told not of buffalo, but of grouse. For an Indian child, like children the world over, it was a time to let the imagination take flight.
This feather on my arrow is from a flyer. We've used the feathers, other things we get from the flyers in our way of life. We use feathers from other birds, such as the eagle, for our dance costumes. And we follow the movements of the prairie chicken. Our head movements and our feet movements and our dance patterns come from the prairie chicken. When my people do the dance of the prairie chicken, then they become the same as the grouse.
The Indians enjoyed telling stories about the animals around them. In one tale that's a lot like an Aesop's fable, a group of prairie chickens meet up with a tricky coyote.
The tricky coyote was hungry, so he was traveling along the creek, when up on the hill he seen some prairie chickens dancing. So he took his bag of tricks and went up that way. When he got there, grandmother prairie chicken didn't trust him, so she asked him what he was doing there. He told her that he had magic songs in the bag. Use these magic songs, they'd be better dancers. Let's tricky coyote finally got mother prairie chicken to dance, her eyes shut with the rest of them. And as they were dancing, he was grabbing them one by one and putting them in his bag. When grandmother prairie chicken seen this, She warned the others and she flew away. Today, the coyote can't trick the prairie chickens that way anymore. And all little boys shouldn't believe what someone has to tell them.
It might seem easy to prey on prairie chickens at this time of the year, when they're distracted with displaying and breeding. But the leks are usually surrounded only by low vegetation, and they're located on high ground with a 360-degree view. The lightning reflexes of the bobcat are no match for the quickness of the wary grouse. Even in late spring, the many prairie ponds may be covered with ice for a few hours after sunup. For a lesser prairie chicken, the ice poses a perplexing problem. High in the sky, a peregrine falcon scans the ground below for prey. The falcon circles, and the prairie chickens flock together. The peregrine shoots down like an arrow, and the grouse flush. No bird is faster in a dive than the peregrine, but millions of years of evolution have made the grouse even faster in level flight. Summer. Thunderstorms are frequent on the prairie. While the rains enrich the native grasses, they pose a threat to the unhatched young of a nesting greater prairie chicken hen. Through rain, or even snow she will endure. The future of her kind depends on her. For 3 weeks, she will patiently incubate the eggs, motionless and stoic. Habitat is particularly critical now during nesting season. Large tracts of undisturbed prairie are crucial for concealment of a nest. On the 23rd to 25th day, new life struggles to emerge. Broods of 5 to 12 chicks will hatch in good years. Camouflaged with spotted down, the tiny chicks will be ready to follow their mother within hours. If all goes well, they will survive to take their place on the prairie. And one morning, rising to a grassy knoll, they will become dancers of the dawn. I'm Marty Stouffer. Until next time, enjoy our wild America.